This social media switch off interviews are all about things that when you switch off social media that maybe you want to try, then to do something different. And it's okay to try and do something different because doing these interviews enables you to see the different types of modalities that are out there for you to help you feel calmer and just feel like less, I'm going to say it, less shit is on you. I've got the beautiful Barbara Byrne here today. She's an amazing life coach and she teaches all about forgiveness. Quickly, before we get started, I'm going to read a poem because I feel like this poem is for one of you out there from when I went on a walk yesterday. It just came to me all of a sudden. So before we get started, I think this will really go with forgiveness as well, is this. Today I took the path less travelled, the one with the clear path nonetheless. I took the path less travelled to distances I've never met, being scared of the path less travelled due to things I could not see. But I trusted my own instinct and I am as safe as I can be. So let's get started. I'm going to hand it over to Barbara. Barbara, take it away.
Thanks, Trina. First of all, the poem was lovely, and it really did. I know I heard you reading it earlier because of our technical issues. Yeah. But the thing of being afraid of the road less travelled and going with your gut instinct are just so important. And I know certainly for me, it's something I've had to learn to trust my gut instinct, and it's conversations we've had many times since we met. I can't believe it's actually, is it 2 or 3 years now?
Oh gosh.
I think it's 3 years this summer. I think.
Yes.
Yeah. But I suppose if I give a little bit of a background, I met Trina through both of us being co-authors in a book called Voices of Courage. And for me, that book through Brenda Dempsey certainly helped me to, I suppose it's taken me on leaps and bounds even in the last couple of years. And it was there, or in those couple of years with the growth and the learning, that I realised just how important forgiveness was or is, but certainly that understanding of how important it is for me. So forgiveness, when we think of forgiveness, usually people think you're allowing what has happened and you're saying that's okay, but that's not the case. What you're basically saying is I'm no longer going to allow it to have power over me. And I think that was my biggest learning. So I had to learn how to forgive myself for choices I made or things that I did, and how I suppose, abused my body through food mainly and through alcohol. And I think that realization is coming more and more prevalent as I get older, I suppose, and as I do more work on myself. So forgiving yourself for whatever it is you've done, how it has led you to wherever it has led you, and then being able to start again. Because I think ultimately it's that knowing of, or not that knowing, it's the learning of nobody is perfect. We put ourselves under so much pressure and so many expectations. I know certainly for me, I had unbelievable expectations of myself, and expectations lead to disappointment. I had a picture in my head as a young woman what I should be like. I hate the word should now. As a woman, a wife, a mother. I also knew that I had these dreams that, and it still would be something that myself and my mum discuss now, how I believe that you can be, do, have and achieve whatever you choose. And just because you're a woman and just because you're a mother doesn't mean you can't have a life and a career outside of that. And yes, it is the most important job in the world, and one that I sometimes feel, because I was in such a state of turmoil when my daughters were younger, that I didn't always give the best of me. But I have forgiven myself, because I know now that the relationship I have now is based on that open discussion that we now have, that they are young adults. Because I had to learn to not beat myself up with the mammy guilt, shame. Even when I say it, I can feel my stomach going, oh, because they have caused me so much grief on top of grief that I was already experiencing in my life. So that's why forgiveness is so important to me.
Oh, wow. And I can, and I can see, even just speaking with you over the years that we've known each other, and also speaking like with many other people, that forgiveness is a really big thing, and it can even come down to like doing the smallest thing that you may feel is wrong in some way, and then all of a sudden these thoughts and feelings come through that, sometimes can be either a part of your environment. They can sometimes be just things that have come through from a long time ago, but it can build up and it can be almost like everything. It's like your day going to pot.
Yeah.
It's like, you wake up in the morning, you think that everything's going to go amazing, and then all of a sudden, like, something just goes wrong. Kids start kicking off or whatever. And I just really want you to go into the forgiveness of self, because you mentioned about the forgiveness of self, and it seems like this week has been massively about forgiveness of self, especially with the chats that I've had with people.
Yeah, I suppose for me, the forgiveness of self was part of my, I suppose you could say, awakening, but it was a rude awakening because I was caught up in so much trauma in my head. As I started to take the lid off, there was fear. Obviously, first of all, there was fear. I used to think that if I spoke about the things that I was worried about or maybe ashamed about or embarrassed about, that it would, I suppose I wouldn't be able to put the lid back on. That was probably where the fear came from. And then I was worried about who else it might actually affect. So maybe the impact I had on my girls, with marriage breakdown, I suppose the death of my brother was where it started. So I stuffed down the feelings through food and drink. And then as I had my children, each time I thought, I've only got two, but I thought, this is going to make it better. And then, I suppose I looked outside. I was always looking outside to find out, well, if I have a nice house, it'll be okay. If I go on holiday, it'll be okay. If I get my hair done, it'll be okay. I was always looking outside to figure out how I was going to make things okay. And it wasn't until I realized it was what was happening in me had to change, that then it all became about the forgiveness, because I had to forgive myself for the guilt that I felt around not fully being present when my girls were quite young, because I was in such a state of depression and despair, and also because I always made sure they ate properly, but I didn't make sure I ate properly. So there was a lot of things that I had to work out and learn to forgive myself for. So it started with by my weight loss journey first. I lost nearly 6 stone. I've lost 4 with Slimming World, and I've kept it off now for, over 8 years. And I now work in that area as well. But I think the forgiveness was really about unlocking what was happening inside and releasing the guilt and the shame and the fear. I used to worry so much about what other people thought of me, and I think there probably will always be an element of that there. But even just doing this, going live, my gut is turning around, because I know that people are going to see it and go, really? Her?
No, but, they were amazing.
But I've worked very hard on myself physically and emotionally, and even more so in the last few years, to let go of what isn't important, and to find out what is important. So through that journey, I ended up going within, and I know we spoke about, from, as I said, I go outside to go inside. I didn't realize just how much that was important to me. But when I'm outside, whether it's for a walk or for a run or for a cycle, I seem to do my thinking and kind of get my inspiration. So being outside is very important, but it's realizing that you need to go in before you go out, basically, so that you can figure out what it is that's happening inside of you and learn your way of whether it's coping, dealing, changing. And really that's where the life coaching came in for me. I went back and studied last year to become a life coach, an executive and life coach. And it was like mind blowing, because I didn't realize going into it just how much self-development and self-learning there was going to be. And it really opened up a lot of things to me, because then again, I was saying, how am I going to get through this? I know I spoke with a couple of people who had done the course. I feel like an alien compared to some of the people that are in my family. They don't get me. And then I had to learn, that's okay. This is my journey. And I had to learn to also accept others as they are on their journey. So that's where the forgiveness comes in, because I'd be saying, God, is it them? Is it me? Which one of us is it? But then I said, it doesn't matter. You know, once I learned that everybody is going to be as they are, and they are where they are. So it's meeting them where they are at. And that's what I suppose the biggest learning is. And sometimes, yes, I may have to stay quiet and not jump in. But I've learned that that's actually invaluable, because that helps me to not judge, to not criticize, to not create arguments unnecessarily, and to not jump into arguments unnecessarily. So to respond rather than react. So it's been a huge, huge learning curve, and I'm just so passionate about trying to help other people uncover what's happening for them, so that they can find their forgiveness. Yeah.
Absolutely that. So you mentioned, I know, and just think that this is meant to go on podcast as well. So you mentioned also about going.
But that's what working at home is about. We have to forgive ourselves.
Yes.
Kids will be kids.
This is what happens when you work at home, right? You have to be very, very calm and just go, Mummy's okay. I'm going to take myself off to a room soon and lock myself in. But it's all good. No, they're all right, actually. So, outdoors, that's what you mentioned.
Yeah.
Outdoors. So we both are massive about going outdoors.
Yeah.
And what you were saying, guys, I'm online. So anyway, as I was saying, about going outdoors, you're right, because I think it's psychology.com that I was reading, that within, I think it's about 20 minutes of being outdoors, you find the clarity that you need. So, when you're getting a load of frustration, kind of building up inside you, that going outdoors grounds you, brings you back to where you are. So if you start looking at the birds, noticing the flowers, noticing the beautiful tree that sticks out between every other tree, all those things bring you back to yourself, because it's a lot of frustration. It's like thinking of the future, isn't it? Rather than, depression, thinking of the past. Overwhelm and anxiety is always thinking of the future. So tell me a bit more about outside.
I suppose I think it began years ago, but I wasn't aware because I wasn't watching. But as I lost weight, I had a dream I was a one-day person. One day I'll do this, one day I'll do that. And one day never came, because I never got up and made it happen. I never took action. And I think that's the big thing for me, is the taking action. And sometimes I do need a bit of a kick up the bum to take action as well in some areas of my life. But back in 2016, I decided I wanted to go on the Camino, and earlier that year I had met with a lady called Linda Keating, who is the charity. She basically does the fundraising, or looks after the fundraising for the Marie Keating Foundation, and Marie Keating is her mother. They would be well known in Ireland. Big cancer support charity for both men and women. And I met her at a chance thing months before, and it came up on Facebook one day that they were looking for people to go on the Camino, and I thought, yes, I'm up for this. So I had to raise money, off we went, and it was the most amazing experience. And like that, there was a bit of imposter syndrome initially, because I remember ringing home and saying, oh my God, there's this lady who has run this business, and there's this lady who's the CEO, and there's this amazing solicitor. And I was like, and then there's little old me. And
sorry guys, but I'm online. Yes, it is on after 8. I'm actually.
Am I going to bed at 8? Yeah, you want to be going to bed at 8.
Right.
Am I going to miss Friday night dinner?
I don't know yet. We'll talk about it in a minute anyway. Okay? Stand up to me when Mummy's doing interviews, alright? I love it how I'm walking like it's no care.
It's like on Sky News. It's deadly. Yeah. So I ended up, I decided to go, I took up the challenge. I went with 12 women who I'd never met. It was an amazing experience. And I think that's when it began for me. And I just became obsessed with being outdoors and in the trees. And then I met a lovely lady who came to join my Silvermore group. I won't mention her name because I don't want to give anybody's confidentiality away. And we became great pals because of our obsession with the Camino. And that August, the August after she joined, which was 2017, she came to me and said, flights are only 80 something euro, I think it was, to Santiago. Do you fancy going on the Camino? So I was like, I hope she's serious. She doesn't know me. When I go home tonight, I'm going to check that out. So I texted her the next day and said, I hope you're serious. I've just booked my flight. So then we put it out to the group. We took 18 people. It was an amazing experience. We did it again last year. We were due to go again in September, but it's been put on hold. But I suppose I'll fast forward because what really came to me at the beginning of this year, well, it was probably last October, November time, was I need to make this part of what I do. So I went on an exploration down to Kerry in Ireland, and the Kerry Camino is I suppose it's the beginning of the journey of St. Brendan from Ireland to Spain. And with the original Camino, it was from Saint-Jean-Pierre in France to Santiago, where Christianity was being spread across Europe.
Wow,
so,
amazing.
Yeah, so I was due to actually have my first walking tour literally the week after we had the pandemic outbreak. The next one was to be in May. So obviously everything is on hold. But I watch this space is all I can say, because I will have my walking Camino tours in County Kerry, in Ireland. And as soon as the borders are down and the flights are running, hopefully I will have people coming from, well, hopefully from further afield than just in Ireland.
I think they will as well. I really do. Lenny, Mummy's just online, and yeah, you can. Right, go on, and I will talk to you very soon, and I'll give you all my attention. Oh, you want to draw? Okay, draw.
Yeah. So
you're gonna create your own Camino.
I already have. I've down in Tralee in County Kerry. I have a beautiful hotel, the Ash Hotel, and I hope that they do survive what is going on. The Ash Hotel in Tralee. A lovely bus company, Lee, lovely guy, has basically come on board as well. And couldn't have been more helpful when I was down doing my exploration. Even one day he convinced me when I was doing my trial run not to go out because it was too wild, but I was determined to go out to have the real experience. And it was amazing. It's a very, very beautiful place, very calming, very peaceful. So the plan is to have walking with mindfulness to bring us into the awareness of the here and the now. And I really do feel with everything that I've learned over the last couple of years, it has helped me to stay very calm during these times when I know a lot of people around me have been quite anxious and worried and upset. And I think the biggest thing is to think about all we have is right here and right now. So no pressure.
Absolutely.
No pressure. Yeah.
Absolutely. And what you're doing essentially is going to help other people as well. It's going to massively help other people. You know what I'm going to do for 1 second, because I'm just going to kick off. Okay, guys, if you want to stay up tonight, it means that you need to be really quiet. Okay, so if you're not very quiet, then you won't be able to stay up. Are you not staying up? If you want to stay up, you need to be quiet. You need to be very quiet and not mess around. Okay.
I love the way you stay calm.
Not all the time. I'm not saying it's like this all the time. Sometimes I do like literally lose it. I had to like shut myself in the bedroom yesterday. I went, Mummy, can't talk right now. I've got to go away. Sat down on the floor in the bedroom like going, but the thing is, it happens, isn't it? It happens, and then you have to forgive yourself for those, for feeling those certain ways. But it starts off with the awareness of it.
Yeah.
It starts off with the awareness, and then that's when you can actually build on it and create the action you need to create as well.
Yeah.
You're going to mention something else as well. I know that was about the
Ho'oponopono. Yeah. That actually is really what led me to exploring how powerful forgiveness was for me. When I first heard, it was a short YouTube, I say short, well, I suppose it is short, 8 minutes long. It was a song that the music was unbelievable, but basically what the Ho'oponopono is, it's a Hawaiian healing technique, and it's very, very powerful, but you can heal yourself or heal somebody even from a distance using the 4 phrases. I'm sorry, I love you, I thank you, and please forgive me. I would actually go, it doesn't really matter which way around you do them, but normally I would say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. So you use those to clean out or clear a situation. So you can do it from the very first time. It was Dr. Hugh Len back in the 60s, I think it was. He uncovered how to heal from a distance, and he actually healed a whole psychiatric hospital of patients, people who had committed some very serious crimes, just through looking through their files, and where people wouldn't even go and work there, like the rate of turnover of staff and everything was horrendous. Eventually the place was closed down because all of the people that were there were healed. And that was just through him observing their files and cleaning, using those 4 phrases.
Because I'm going to find, did you say psychiatric hospital?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to post it for you guys, anyone who's watching right now.
It's Dr. Hugh Len.
How do you spell his name?
Hewlen. That's the surname. I can't pronounce the other one. It's something like Ilakalakala or something like that. I can't actually pronounce it. But Dr. Hugh Len. If you just put in Dr. Hugh Len, you'll find him.
I found him, yeah.
And he's very laid back, very cool. He speaks very quietly. He actually has a really, really calming voice.
Wow. Let's see if I found his story here, and I'm going to pop it in the comments as well, because I think it would be really.
Dr. Joe Vitale works with him, and he talks about coming to zero. And it took me, when I read the book Zero Limits initially, I was like, oh, this is way above my head. I can't get my head around it. But because I'm now in the middle of studying Joe Vitale's Ho'oponopono course, it's given me a better understanding of what that means. And it's really just about coming into the now and I suppose letting go of what is. But he talks a lot about what's around you spiritually and how to just to keep that calm by using the 4 phrases. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. It's so powerful, very, very powerful.
It's such a powerful tool as well.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I think it would be really lovely if we actually sing it now. Do you mind singing together? We can do this together.
Sing
but yeah, why not?
I'm not sure what you're asking me to sing.
The Ho'oponopono.
Well, you see, I haven't sang it. I usually say it, and then I listen to the music. So I'm not actually sure what exactly you're asking me to sing.
So I'm getting like a call to sing it.
Okay.
So shall we sing it? And then if anyone who's watching this right now wants to join in from home, you know, you're feeling, you know, like you want to forgive yourself. Now, don't worry if you may start yawning or
Yes.
you may stop burping.
I was just going to say that, the burping as well. Yeah.
Or burping or trumping. It's just releasing the energy that's inside you. Also as well, you may have tears. And that's okay. So just grab yourself some tissues beforehand. Always know that it's okay to cry. We're not opening like massive wounds or anything. It's just a release. And it's like you know, when you see a child cry, they cry for about 5 minutes and then they go, and you kind of like go, are you okay? And they're like, yeah, go and play.
Yeah.
that type of thing. It's almost like and when you cry, your muscles will relax as well. So all that kind of tension that's within you kind of starts to dissipate and go.
Yeah.
So are you ready, Barbara?
Yep.
We'll just go for it, right?
Okay.
As if we're on X Factor. So we'll just go with it.
Okay.
So, do you want to start or shall I start? Who's going to start?
I mean, if you want to start.
Yeah. If I can remember it. So I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you.
I love
I
you.
love you. I'm sorry.
Please forgive me.
I thank you. I love you.
I'm
See,
sorry.
I was nearly breaking into, these are the special words.
Oh, these are
The special words God gave to us all.
Oh, yeah. You know what?
I don't remember it all, but it just, as you said it, it all started to come.
It's you know, like as we started singing, I just felt this like real cold all over my arms and everything, almost like a hug.
Yeah.
It's just such a beautiful song, and if you sing it, you know, just make sure your feet just really firmly placed on the floor. You can feel the floor under your feet, and then just sing those words. You know, just
Yeah.
sorry, please forgive me, I love you.
Thank you. I love you. It doesn't matter which way.
Love you. And what we'll do, shall we put the link in as well to the YouTube of that?
Yeah, it's because it is very powerful.
It's so beautiful. I remember first listening to that song and just how wonderful it was. And I think going back in history as well, was it used to break up fights between Hawaiian families as well?
It's a very ancient technique, and it is all about healing and forgiveness. Yeah. Yeah.
And you can actually feel like your own physiology, like just going.
Yeah. I know it had a major impact on me, which is what made me explore it further. It had a major impact on me, and I talk about freedom through forgiveness. But it's about your personal freedom.
Yeah.
And I think when you're free up here, it just makes life so much easier, because you're not getting caught up in the anxiety and the stress. And yes, there is very serious stuff going on in the world right now. I feel like nearly I'm in a little bubble. I do feel protected. And I know I generally would say this time of the year can be quite a tough time. It's coming up to my brother's anniversary, and it'll be the first year that we haven't all been together. But we have a plan in place, even though we're not going to be together, to release lanterns at the same time. And I'm just really feeling calm and good about it all. And I think it's that realization of, it's okay if I don't feel sad. It doesn't mean I don't care any less.
Yeah.
But it's powerful for me, because it means that I'm actually learning to finally accept that it is what it is, you know, and that's a big thing, is the acceptance, because I cannot change it, but I need to learn to live with it without self-destruct. And that's the way I had gone for many years before.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's almost like, just mentioned it there, and you hit the nail on the head. That forgiveness over being happy and positive. That's what. That's it. Because there's a lot of stuff that's going on at the moment, and there's a lot of people who are unhappy. And sometimes when other people are unhappy, you feel like an obligation not to be happy.
Yes.
And that can really impact you. It can bring on feelings of overwhelm, feelings of anxiety. I remember speaking to someone, they said to me as well, they did a dissertation for their degree on one of the public services that we have here in the UK. And she said, because they weren't allowed to laugh, because what they were doing was so serious, and because the public would have a go, well, how can you laugh at this situation? They ended up in depression.
Oh wow!
Suicidal. So this was the psychology that was going on behind it.
Yeah.
Because laughing is a basic human form of emotion.
Yeah.
Just like crying. So instead, some people will cry, some people will laugh, and both of them are a way of release, of a way of healing. So, and if you're not allowed to heal, then you end up stuffing it back inside.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on in one of our in one of the public services, and possibly in many public services around the world. To be fair, that you're not able to use that emotion, that releasing emotion during times of stress because of fear of upsetting someone else. So it's massive. It is massive. So we do need this like kind of forgiveness over the things that we do, because we are individuals and not everyone's going to agree with what we say. So and it's just how, understanding that that's someone else's point of view, this is our point of view, and etc. etc. But yes, this has been such a wonderful talk. It's
great to be here. It only took us a half an hour to get live, but we got it.
It just took us a long time to get live. But that's the thing about, trying to do these things where there's like a little bit of technology involved.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's going to carry on. But thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Video. If you haven't watched it already, please do go back and watch it, #live, #replay, because I'm sure that there is something in here for you, even if it's only something that's minute, but it might be something that literally changes your day.
Yeah, and if anybody does have any questions, I will even put the link. They can either message me directly, but I'll put the link to my page there too.
Yeah, absolutely. Barbara, make sure you do put that link in.
Yeah.
Barbara's got a great group as well. She's going to pop a page in, but pop the group in as well, Barbara, because, people might even be searching, just for the information that you put into your group. She put some great information into a group, actually. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there for today.
Thanks very much.
Thank you to Barbara for being here.
Thanks, Trina.
It's been absolutely wonderful.